us, the big star would be the real American voices.
Jesus!
All right, yes. Lost his line there.
That's okay.
A very big thank you to Ed Henry and Karyn Turk and Terrance Bates on America's Sunrise. Watch America's Sunrise.
Good morning, Patriots. Welcome to this American Sunrise, live from West Palm Beach, Florida. Good morning.
Good morning. Happy Monday.
Great to see you.
And live from our Denver, Colorado studios, where Ed and Karyn, I'm keeping an eye on Capitol Hill. We're about 2 hours away now from some pretty bombastic, that's the word that my kids are using these days, testimony coming from Devon Archer. That's what we're expecting, at least.
Yeah, we shall see. Arch enemy is how the New York Post talks about it. He's going to tell some bad stuff, not just about Hunter, but I think the key, Karyn, is Joe.
Yeah.
Because he has previously suggested that he's aware of, being on like conference calls and whatnot with Hunter. And Hunter gets Joe Biden on the speakerphone years ago to talk to their clients, which, if you were honest about it, would not be a big deal. But they were not honest and transparent. They said Joe was not involved in the business dealing. So if at that time you're using the vice president of the United States to make money, you're trading on influence and access, and then worse than that, you're taking bribes.
Is there really anybody that's asleep to the fact that this is total corruption at this point? Are there any real Americans that actually are asleep to this, or is it just a mainstream media narrative?
Well, I want to turn to, actually, I think some Republicans are, because I think when Donald Trump and Erie, PA at the rally said the real threat right now is Republicans who are not doing anything about this.
Because they are not who they say they are?
Well, where's Speaker McCarthy? I mean, they went to August recess. We're going to hear from Devon Archer. But where the heck is it going to go, Terrance? There'll be a couple of headlines. The New York Post and we and others will make a big deal out of it. Much of the mainstream media will toss stones at it. And the Republicans, what will they do?
And, to that point, James Comer, the chairman of the House Oversight Committee, is really kind of banking on this Devon Archer interview today, this deposition, saying that this gives our investigation credibility. This is someone who's going to be able to come out and give out information that truly offers up credibility that the mainstream media has pretty much said was lacking in our investigation. But again, the focus, as we've talked about really for months now, from this Republican-led House Oversight Committee and the House Intelligence Committee and Judiciary, has really just been to get the information out there. They don't have a lot of teeth. There's not much more they can do apart from getting the information out there and letting these issues be adjudicated, if you will, in the court of public opinion, not necessarily a legal court.
Well, let's press them, and let's whether it's a special counsel or something. A couple I want to get up here. Mark Levin was on fire about this over the weekend and pointing out something that's important. It looks like Devon Archer's in fear of violent Democrats. He's going to hear about the Republicans are out to get people, and it turns out that Archer has been in hiding, Karyn, according to the Daily Mail, because he's received death threats and violent threats. Why would that be? I mean, the Republicans want to hear from him. It sounds like the left is pretty angry and violent. They don't want to hear the truth.
It's just unbelievable. Today's going to be a big day for the big guy. I just want to say this. It's a big day for the big guy.
Also, Terrance, I do want to shout out Republicans like Matt Gaetz, who stood up this weekend to this. Miranda Devine in the New York Post has been on the laptop for years. So over the weekend on Saturday, the DOJ, the corrupt Biden Justice Department, put out a notice through the Southern District in New York that they wanted Devon Archer, that he was essentially going to be arrested because he's been waiting to see when he'll be sentenced.
Right.
And it seemed very odd, the timing, guys, that ahead of this testimony, there's the U.S. attorney in the case saying, we're going to have to report. And, there was talk that he was going to be arrested. That was shot down. And yesterday, under pressure from Gaetz and other Republicans, the DOJ basically said, no, we're going to let him testify. But my point is, over the weekend, Matt Gaetz, Mike Johnson, I think from Louisiana, others on the Judiciary Committee said, we're in recess. McCarthy's gone home. But if you get, I think, at least 5 members of the Judiciary Committee back in Washington, you can hold a special meeting. And they were saying, we're going to go after Garland. We need subpoenas. Yeah. And this is the fight we need. Stop cowering. And when Gaetz stood up over the weekend, the Justice Department backed down.
Because now they're starting to see that we're not going to put up with it. Thank God now we have representatives that are taking a stand because there's been so much passiveness.
Right.
And I will say the good thing about having this Republican majority in the House is it's putting the DOJ on notice. There are also investigations, and there's been talk. Nothing super hard, I don't see, but there's at least been talk about investigating the Department of Justice and really holding members of the Department of Justice accountable. And I suspect that that's putting some of the top brass at the DOJ on notice to say, okay, look, maybe we should back off on some of these things. We don't quite have the authority or the influence that we once had without having to answer to some of our actions. So I think that's one of the more positive things that's coming out of what we're seeing right now.
Well, let's hope they're held accountable.
I mean, I think it's infuriating for most of us at how much time these things take, and that so much time will pass before the accountability even takes place, if it does at all.
Oh, you mean like the laptop that they said was Russian disinformation before the 2020 election? It was the beginning of election interference, and now they just keep...
3 years later?
Yeah, is there going to be another indictment of Trump today? Because once Archer starts singing...
Oh, they're going to want to distract
the timing
again.
is interesting.
They're really good at just throwing those indictments really in
Absolutely.
cohesive
Exactly.
sync with those things.
That's an important story, but so's this. It happened over the weekend. Let's not forget this. So a China-linked biolab was discovered in Fresno, California. Karyn had over 900 mice genetically engineered to catch and carry the COVID-19 virus. I'm reading other reports that some of the mice...
California.
In California, right? And why does China have this in America? Okay? They also found over 35 freezers and refrigeration units that contain thousands of bodily fluids, serums, tissues, and other medical items. I want to mention Gordon Chang, if we put that up. He's nobody smarter on all of this. And he said, is China, Karyn, planning to launch bioweapons attacks on America from American soil? How many more locations like this exist in our country?
If
this is in
what
America.
we know about. How many of these labs exist that we have no clue? Look at this. Look at this.
Terrance, it's on top of Chinese police stations that we were told were crazy, and then all of a sudden the FBI chief had to testify on the road. Oh, yeah, they do have police stations in America, inexplicably. Now they've got mice running around in a biolab in California with COVID-19 and all other matter of things that they might unleash.
It's frightening, and it leads to the question, who knew? And if no one knew, that's an even bigger question. Like, why wouldn't you not know what's happening within your country? But I suspect someone did know, and of course, a name like Dr. Anthony Fauci, I think, immediately comes to people's minds. Is this something that he knew? Is this something that maybe he helped fund? We don't know those questions. Again, I'm simply stating and asking the question, but I think they're fair questions to ask.
Boy, I'm surprised that Biden didn't stand up to China.
Oh, shocking.
I mean, this is another example, right? Either the intelligence community was asleep at the switch and didn't know about it, as you say, or they knew about it, briefed the White House, and Joe Biden is so, compromised, let's just say it, by China that he didn't do anything about it until maybe it just spilled out. They couldn't keep it a secret anymore. But they will not stand up. Why? Well, they got money from the CCP, right? The money came in to Hunter with these business deals, and they covered it all up, and now we're learning about it because of Comer and others.
Yeah, there are lots of options out there, and there need to be some answers, particularly because a foreign country was operating on U.S. soil. Like, that's the most egregious part of all of this. And then there are all these other branches that I think kind of go out from that. But I think that's the simple point, that a foreign country was operating a lab on U.S. soil.
Foreign country that's communist, too,
Yeah, and what do we not know? Like, what do we not know? If we know that, then there's got to be a ton that we don't know. It's a tip of the iceberg, for sure. These things are probably like in many, many cities. Democrat cities, I would imagine.
I think you're right. Shout out to some Real American Voices. Gator66 sent us a note early this morning, and she's in Kissimmee in Florida. Larry sends us, Ed, I found a nice ride for you. Who do you think did a mailman vehicle like that, like a hot rod? Look at that.
Retro. I don't know, but we need to find out about this, and we may need to acquire this.
Yeah, let's find out how much it is.
Postal emblems on it. I like that.
There you go.
I can see you doing that in style, Ed. That's all you right there. That's gangster.
That's right.
It is.
Take it down to Miami. I'm looking forward to that. Real American Voices, meanwhile, talking about the cocaine story. Mandy, haven't seen a meme yet to actually portray the whole White House cocaine story, so I made my own. What do you think? And it basically says, we have no idea who did it. Not Hunter Biden's cocaine. If found, return to the White House, or my dad's beach house. And he was on the beach. We're going to show that picture next hour. He was on the beach. So Joe has a beach house. I just wanted to mention that. And the next one from D.C. Hollywood. Cocaine was found at Biden's house, Karyn. That's true, right? A dead body was found at Obama's house. True? Right? A male prostitute was found at Pelosi's house. What was his friend David, right? An illegal server was found at Clinton's house. And the FBI raided Trump's house.
Yep.
How does that work?
That pretty much sums it up right there. Right there. You know, and they have if you have a beach house, there's just cocaine sharks. Are they responsible for the cocaine
beach
sharks?
house in Rehoboth Beach there in Delaware? Terrance, where's the lie? Where's the lie? There's dead bodies turning up at Democrats' homes.
Yeah, you know, there's something to be said for all of this. Like, there should probably investigations on a number of these different issues raised here, but the most apparent one, or the one that's gotten the most media attention, was the FBI raiding the Trump house. That I like that. There's something to be said.
How does that work? They just go after him and Roger Stone and others. It's very interesting. Roger Coburn's always writing us. Brewster the Rooster and some of his guinea babes. You like animals. What do you think about this?
Oh, wow.
Brewster the Rooster.
I like Brewster the Rooster.
Yeah?
He's very handsome. That's a good-looking rooster.
I like to see that. Now, Karyn, I want to always point out when you're right, and Democrats are now putting together this phony defense of the bribes that went to Joe and Hunter. This is Claire McCaskill, the former Democrat senator. Watch.
What accusations and arguments do you think they're going to make, given this didn't go exactly as planned today?
Well, they're going to keep doing what they've been doing. They are going to try to indict a father for loving his son who has been addicted to drugs and or alcohol, and without evidence of the father doing anything other than loving that son.
Karyn, did you talk to Claire McCaskill? Because she said what you predicted a few months ago.
Because you can see it coming. Their playbook is easy to read. I've read it before. You know this is the direction.
Did you write it, though? Because she said what you said.
No, I didn't write it. They wrote it, but I can interpret it.
You can interpret it.
Yeah.
And Terrance, go to this one. Jonathan Turley, the legal analyst, says, with the debacle in Delaware with that plea deal falling apart, there remains the ultimate break-the-glass option for the Bidens. The president could pardon his son and then announce he will not run for re-election. And I talked to some folks over the weekend that this is picking up steam, the idea. There was this comment from the White House late last week that he would not pardon his son. But, you know, they say that until they do it. Right. And that we might see some sort of Christmas Day pardon, end of the year, try to bury it. He walks away. But then we're left with Kamala or whomever they're going to try to bring out of the wings, Newsom or whoever.
He didn't understand the depths of his son's addiction, and then all of a sudden he's going to have memory issues, and they're going to just put him away in his beach house in Delaware, you know, with the cocaine sharks in the ocean.
The sharks.
You know, let's hope there's some accountability, but I'm not hopeful.
You know what? And some of it may come from inside the administration, from the Biden family itself. But let's be honest, there's lots of pressure, even from within the Democrat Party, to oust Joe Biden, to get him out of the way. And so all of this may be something that's a concerted effort, even from the party itself, from the DNC, to say, hey, Joe, okay, look, go ahead and pardon Hunter, and then we just need you to step aside, and we're going to install our own person.
And Harris will be next in line. Look at the hypocrisy. This was from a couple of days ago, New York Post. Now, remember, she beat up DeSantis because they've got a curriculum in Florida that maybe slaves learn skills. Okay, let's not go down that rabbit hole for now. But it turns out she attacked. Right, please. Because the whole thing is ridiculous. Let's just say that. But Harris attacked DeSantis for saying that we're going to teach that slaves learn skills. Terrance, it turns out that Harris previously, as a senator and whatnot, backed a curriculum that said slaves learn skills like blacksmiths and other things. And again, I think the whole argument's ridiculous, but she backed this before. But then when the Republicans have it, she says, oh, this is ridiculous and racist. She came to Florida and said it was racist. But she's backed a similar curriculum. The Democrats are ridiculously hypocritical. I'm just going to say
it's unbelievable. And again, who's going to East Palestine? Who's talking to the actual people that are affected?
Yeah, she came to Florida and beat up DeSantis.
We're right. What's going on here? Where's the direction?
Terrance?
Let's be honest. This is all political. It's about trying to gain a political win on an issue that is a hot button issue, that's an emotional emotional issue for, let's be specific about it, for black Americans in this country, particularly in black Floridians. And so she's trying to capitalize on that and capitalize on those emotions in order to try to push back against Ron DeSantis. Let's just call it what it is.
Right.
And again,
maybe
I'm not
she should have checked the facts.
I'm not taking a position on the issue itself, but that's what's happening. Let's just be honest about it.
No.
Yeah,
and you were honest
know.
about it. We appreciate that. She was not honest about it, I think, is the point, because she's backed it
They
before.
never are.
I'll be honest about this. Donald Trump is back. We'll talk about the rally. But first, did you see the dance? Here we go. Short and sweet, but this
That
weekend.
was a good one.
Yeah, Friday night is in Iowa. Opened up a campaign office there in Des Moines.
I like it. I mean, he finished it with this, which is always a classic. But this new, very aggressive. This is new.
Oh,
you're
This
excited?
running this, I'm gonna.
The
I'm
chance of
gonna use that.
USA. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. This reminds me of milking a cow. Like the getting out of the cow. I was like, oh, we're milking a cow, baby. Come on, let's get it.
What are you talking about? Here he is ripping Bidenomics and the rest of it in Erie, PA. Watch.
I will end the disaster known as Bidenomics. That was supposed to be a negative term. He liked the name so much, he's going around saying how wonderful it is. If you love inflation and a bad economy, let's go for it. Since taking office, Joe Biden has wrecked our economy. Home ownership has been pushed out of reach for millions and millions of Americans, with the rate of a 30-year mortgage up 150%. Think of this, 157 actually percent since I left office. Real wages collapsed 26 months in a row. And typical Americans have seen their incomes crushed by more than 6,000. That's the people in the room. Everybody. $6,400 a year income crushed since Biden took office. And that's having to do with many, many factors, But think of that, $6,400 a month's wages on average.
People are getting hammered. We'll hear more from the president next hour as well from that great rally in Erie, PA. Let's lead into Jesus Calling with this. I don't know if you saw this video. Here's a dog who prays a little bit of grace with his owner before every meal. Watch.
Easy, buddy. Sit, stay. Let's pray. Lord, we ask that you bless this food and nourish it to our bodies. We're very grateful and appreciative for everything we have. Thank you, Lord, for everything. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Good boy. Well done.
What a good boy.
That's so nice.
Awesome.
You going to try it at home?
I don't know. Now I feel like a bad dog mom. Let's do Jesus Calling.
Let's do it.
Trust me in the depths of your being. It is that I live in constant communication with you. When you feel flustered and frazzled on the outside, do not get upset with yourself. You are only human, and the swirl of events going on all around you will sometimes feel overwhelming. Rather than scolding yourself for your humanness, remind yourself that I am both with you and within you. And this comes from Matthew 28:20, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you, and surely I am with you always to the very end of age.
That is a beautiful way to get this week going. Amen. Indeed. Let's get to a little segment we like to call
Trump was right.
Yeah, Trump was right about the border crisis. Talked about it in Erie, PA. Take a look at this in New York City. The famed Roosevelt Hotel has been overrun by illegal immigrants. Look at this on the streets now, Karyn. They've got the hotel. We've shown pictures inside and video. This is hundreds of illegal immigrants sleeping outside the hotel due to the fact that no rooms are available, and the mayor's got no plan.
I don't even know what to say about this. This is disgusting. And these people pretend to be humanitarians. Look at all of these people that are suffering right now, that we're told, come into this country. It's fine. We're going to welcome you. There's free stuff here.
It's funny you say that because in the New York papers over the weekend, they were saying that some of these illegal immigrants are speaking up and saying they feel like they were misled about what they were going to get in New York. Terrance, I want to pivot to this. It's similar on the border crisis. You're from Chicago. Look at Travis and Flint. Illinois Governor Pritzker, over the weekend, we talked about his crazy gun laws and all this. He signed a law that will allow, listen to this, illegal immigrants to become police officers and sheriff's deputies. Illegal immigrants in Illinois, American citizens could actually be arrested by, yes, illegal immigrants. We previously saw, Terrance, that he was saying if you're you own a home and you're a landlord, you have to rent to an illegal immigrant, even if you can't do a background check or anything. Now, an illegal immigrant in Illinois can become a police officer.
And let's not forget, Illinois is also one of those states that budgeted, literally put in the state budget, funding for health care for illegal immigrants. And at this point, it's just getting ridiculous. I mean, any reasonable person would say, you are breaking the law, but we're going to hire you to enforce the law, even though you broke the law.
But you broke
Makes
it,
no
right.
sense.
How do you, exactly, that's the central point. Like, how can they actually enforce the law when they don't follow the law?
It's nonsensical. You can't even.
But it's a Democrat governor enabling this.
Well,
Please make sense of it.
That's why. I mean, that's exactly why that's happening, because it's a Democrat governor.
Unbelievable. We're going to take a quick break. Did you hear about Congresswoman Nancy Mace?
Uh-huh.
You did?
A little bit.
She was supposed to be at a prayer breakfast, but she was running a little bit late. The reason why is causing a little controversy this morning. We'll talk about it after a quick break.
81 million votes my ass.
This news break is brought to you by AMAC, Association of Mature American Citizens.
Let's go. Cocaine. Yeah. Took a trip to Ukraine. Now high on this plane. Cocaine.
Yeah, don't get high on that plane. Stay away from that cocaine there, Hunter and the rest. Hakuna Matata, that's a better worry-free philosophy. Stay away from that other stuff, kids. In the meantime, we've obtained some exclusive video of Karyn talking to one of her dogs. Let's take a look.
And then she tried to do it again, and I was like, are you dumb? Because that just doesn't make sense. Like, it just wasn't getting through to her that everything that was going down for a reason, and she wasn't trying to.
For
pretty intense, telling the whole story. You like to tell your dogs about your day.
That looks like my dog.
That
looks like Gigi.
It looks like Gigi.
Yeah.
So do you feel like they absorb it the same way?
I do. Sometimes I look at my dog and I think she's really like a toddler in a dog costume.
In a dog costume.
Like a little person inside there.
There's a man in Japan who's in a dog costume. He identifies as a dog.
I know. I saw this. I thought of my dog when
Did he spend something like $20,000?
$25,000. Yeah.
Oh, boy. What they do these days. In the meantime, the headlines are sponsored by AMAC.
The Association of Mature American Citizens is the conservative voice for Americans 50 and older. AMAC is fighting for the values that you hold dear. Join today. Together, we can write the course of America.
Terrance, what do you think?
Hold on. So your lead-in to me is a man in Japan who identifies as a dog, and you expect somebody to take me seriously after that?
Well, that's what he's doing.
I know.
It's a true story. It's a collie. It's a collie. It's a collie costume.
And he's walking.
Yeah, no,
he's in the costume, and he's walking down the streets of Japan and letting people pet him.
Mm-hmm. Mental health is real.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I'm not making light of that. Mental health is real.
No,
I'll just
serious business. You're right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's get to this morning's headlines because there really is a lot to talk about today. Republicans are crying foul this morning and again pointing fingers at the Justice Department as the House Oversight Committee is now less than 2 hours from hearing from former Hunter Biden business associate and friend Devon Archer. At issue is a request from the Justice Department over the weekend to a New York judge to set a date for Archer to report to prison. He was sentenced to 1 year in prison for his role in a $60 million bond fraud last year, and he lost his appeal. However, congressional Republicans argue the timing of the letter just 2 days before the 58-year-old is set to offer up what is expected to be a damaging deposition amounts to intimidation at the very least. Archer is expected to talk about having witnessed President Biden participate in his son's business deals with foreign companies both in person and on the phone. That narrative is opposite of what President Biden has claimed in the past. In the meantime, the man heading up one of the many House-led investigations into the Biden family and allegations of shady business dealings says that today's deposition gives his committee's work more credibility. House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer has been relentless with his pursuit of the truth related to Hunter's business and with foreign companies and what then Vice President Biden knew may have participated in. He points to last week's revelation during Hunter's plea deal hearing, during which prosecutors admitted to an ongoing investigation surrounding the first son. Today's Devon Archer deposition is just part of the congressional investigation, though.
I don't think any of these countries would have acquired his services had it not been for his dad standing beside him, as he says in his text messages, putting his dad on the phone to give his son credibility. So what we're seeing today is that the Biden family is under a whole lot more investigative scrutiny than what the media has reported, and I think that you're seeing our investigation that's shined light on the many wrongdoings of the Biden family has picked up a lot of credibility today because now we see that there are a lot of crimes that this family's committed.
Comer accuses the Biden family and its business associates of creating more than 20 companies and receiving at least $10 million from foreign nationals while President Biden served as vice president. He says that the group tried to hide that money, which Comer believes was collected as part of a political influence peddling scheme. And a new indictment against President Trump could come as soon as today. Fulton County, Georgia District Attorney Fani Willis has said that if charges are brought, it would likely happen between today and August 18th. Willis has been investigating the former president for more than 2 years now over alleged efforts by Mr. Trump and his allies to overturn Georgia's 2020 election results. One of 2 grand juries seated just a few weeks ago is expected to hear this case. If President Trump is in fact indicted there in Georgia, the case would be on top of the federal charges in Florida and state charges in New York. The New York trial is set for March. The Florida case is set to be heard in May. That's a quick check of your headlines brought to you by AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens. I'm about a month away. There
you go. We're excited about that birthday. Karyn was just saying as you were reading that you think about the money, the millions Jack Smith has already spent. What are they spending in Georgia investigating Trump? What was it, like $40 million that Mueller spent a few years back for really pretty much nothing.
Think about $40 million. Think about, you said mental health earlier, Terrance. All those people that we could help, those people laying on the street in front of the Roosevelt Hotel. Like, think about what that money could do.
Absolutely. And then I'll add to that, I'll see you and raise you $150 billion or so to Ukraine, right? That money's still going in. President Trump at the rally in PA was saying, you know, we should actually have conditions on that money. And until we get answers from the Justice Department and the FBI and others, cut off the funding for the White House until they start cooperating and we figure out what I think is connective tissue there was that this money is going there in part because of the bribes that Joe and Hunter allegedly received. So until we get answers on this, President Trump said, why keep writing a blank check to Ukraine until we know about the bribes and we get some answers, Terrance?
And I will even add to that, I'll raise you a little bit, that lawmakers on both sides of the aisle are complicit in all of this because they also have rubber stamped this funding to Ukraine. And so Republicans and Democrats, that's what I'm saying, on both sides of the aisle, they rubber stamped this funding without those conditions. So it's a great point. If you're going to fund any, and that's not just for Ukraine, that would be for any country that we're funding, that we're sending money to, we need conditions. We need a return on investment at very least.
Absolutely. Yeah. So this is an interesting little story. So Congresswoman Nancy Mace, we've seen her out on the road in South Carolina. And from the great state of South Carolina, Senator Tim Scott as well, a man of faith, as I believe she is as well. And so he's running for president, he put together a little prayer breakfast. It was a very nice event.
It was.
They were talking about Christian values and all kinds of wonderful God things. And then Nancy Mace took the podium.
She did.
And things took a turn. Watch.
Pulling this together, another year, another standing room only event. And when I woke up this morning at 7, I was getting picked up at 7:45. Patrick, my fiance, tried to pull me by my waist over this morning in bed, and I was like, no, baby, we don't got time for that this morning. I got to get to the prayer breakfast, and I got to be on time, and a little TMI, but he can wait. I'll see him later tonight. But I was here early.
I will see him later tonight. Now, she got some heat. I was sort of.
She got some meat? No.
Heat. No, I said heat.
Heat. Okay, I'm sorry. I heard meat.
Wait. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to put myself in timeout. Go ahead.
Okay. She got some heat because, not just that it was a prayer breakfast, but that she herself said that it was her fiancé and seemed to be endorsing premarital situations.
She said she was a sinner. She put it out on Twitter.
Yeah. And then she went to church on Sunday and put a video out after and was saying, hey, everyone, I'm here, I'm praying. And I don't know. What do you think, Terrance?
You know, who am I to cast a stone? Who am I to cast a stone? But know your audience. Like one would expect at that, you're accomplished. Know your audience. Certain things you probably should keep to yourself. And this is coming from someone who is an open book. I'll let you know all my flaws. But I'm also not an elected official, so.
Right. She might not want to share. Maybe TMI.
She said,
like once she was in, I think she realized it because she was like, yeah, I think this is TMI. But I'm committed now.
And people, we have a little fun with it. Everyone should move on. She had to put out more videos over the weekend and apologize. Come on, this is not a scandal. In the meantime, Ron DeSantis, maybe still no personality, suffers yet another bizarre moment out on the campaign trail. Let's watch the video.
Well, I'm here. I don't know if the other one's
I'm not pressed.
Okay, all right. It's good. All right, we'll say hi to everybody.
So at the end was also funny. Let me say hi. It was very robotic, but you were laughing out loud. Why?
I mean, he's super awkward. I think if he embraced his awkwardness a little bit more, he'd be more likable because he's a little weird.
Terrance, that laugh is so it's just so ridiculous. It's like Kamala's cackle.
It's weird. You're the governor of Florida. Obviously, he did something during his gubernatorial campaigns that endeared him to Floridians. So what happened? What happened? Where was the change? What happened?
Do you have a thought on that? Because Matt Gaetz, I just want to tell you this. I don't mean to interrupt, but Matt Gaetz made a comment over the weekend that he helped run some of DeSantis' first campaign and said he had a lot of fun on the trail, and he doesn't look like he's having fun. Like he's just not ready.
He had good people around him, I think, the first time around that brought out the best in him, that probably encouraged, like, hey, you know what, if you're a little bit awkward, like, go out there, be yourself. And they probably liked who he was. And I don't know that he's surrounded by people that genuinely like him right now.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're all bad people, but, you know, maybe they're not in it for the right reasons.
These consultants who are burning through his money and all the rest of it. Real quick, let's focus on the other side of this, right? Because President Trump far ahead in the polls, likely to face Joe Biden. Here's a clip from 2019 that's getting some new resonance about Hunter. Watch.
So you think that everything that happened was kosher? You know there's not one single bit of evidence, not one little tiny bit, to suggest anything done was wrong. You know that. But you keep asking me these questions. It's okay. You're doing what you have to do. But I'm not worried about it. Look, the American public knows me.
There's no evidence.
And we're about to find out more.
There might be some evidence with Devin Archer, huh? What do you think?
Yeah, you think so?
Hour and a half. And I'm looking at the clock, an hour and a half.
Well, I don't know if you heard this one, but Bill Barr, the former Attorney General, said that if Donald Trump gets the nomination, he's going to jump off a bridge. And here it is.
Wow.
Now, I'm wondering, I saw a lot of people
statement
on Twitter saying Mr. Barr is a rather large man. They're concerned for the people underneath the bridge.
Well, will we, I mean, he's going to jump into water. Will we televise this? Will this be a national event?
We have checked with the Zen Master. Yeah. We will stream that live if he jumps off a bridge. And obviously, we don't want to see anyone get hurt. I don't want to make light of people. But he used those words.
Bungee cord on him, like a really big one.
Would that work? I'm not sure it'll work. Last thought, Terrance?
I'm good. I'm going to leave it alone. I've said it.
There you go. Last word is there. But we're going to get some more comment from our great friend Andrew Phipps. You see him every Monday morning around this time after a quick break. A little faith, family, and freedom. Sunrise from Ted Nugent on the way out.
Patriots better get ready and move to a state that's super red like blood soup whoop in their face. I make this music for the truth won't erase. Get on CNN,
Yeah,
show up 2
Patriots
minutes
better
late.
get ready. There's a lot going on in this country. People are standing out. 46 problems download in stream. A lot of people talking about Bill Barr now saying that he'll jump off a bridge if President Trump gets the GOP nomination, which, by the way, he's far, far ahead, obviously, and is likely to get it. I see you in the live chat saying big bungee with cocaine sharks in the water could be great TV.
Yeah.
I'll raise you again. There are other people in the chat. Who's this now? Eagle One, who says Christie should jump off a bridge as well. So if you have Barr and Christie, very large men, a lot to say about Donald Trump.
I think this would be really very well
made for TV event. Who makes a bigger splash?
Yeah.
Yeah, they could yell out cannonball.
Yeah.
There you go.
Bungee cords, so they're safe. I mean, we just bop them in the water, we make the splash, we vote,
And we vote.
Yeah, we vote.
Who had a bigger splash?
Yeah.
All right, I like the idea. What about Marco Polo? That was fun when you were a kid, right?
Marco Polo.
Yeah, right?
That's right.
All right. Well, kids, don't grow up like Chris Christie or Bill Barr. We want you to be healthy. Support the wellness company, twc.health/RAV. You can deal with those spike proteins in the middle there, the spike support. You've got Dr. McCullough's Healthy Heart and Muscle formula on the left. Don't forget the Restful Sleep formula, which I've been taking, and it's fabulous. Do you need your spike support for the day? All right, I'm going to open this up, let you do that. I won't put my hand in there. Spike support is quite good. Took mine earlier. Make sure you support them at twc.health/RAV. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Let's talk about a couple of real American voices. Look at this endorsement from Dobby the Elf. She's one of our viewers. And look at that. There's even some artillery tea with the spike support. Purchased a couple items from the Patriot stores. Love them. The spike support cleared up my brain fog. The chai tea, which Terrance likes, makes a great latte with honey and almond milk. Order, enjoy as well, Ravagers. Much love and blessings. Same to you, Dobby. Can you believe what the Biden administration is doing? This really broke out over the weekend. RFK Jr. has been at 20% or so in the polls. New information this morning about how much money he's raised, by the way. Well, he came out on social media, obviously noted that his father, Robert, was assassinated in addition to his uncle, and said that since RFK Sr. was assassinated, the Secret Service went beyond just protecting presidents and vice presidents, Karen. They started protecting presidential candidates. Not me, he wrote. Typical turnaround time for pro forma protection requests from candidates is 14 days. After 88 days, no response, several follow-ups by my campaign, the Biden administration just denied our request. They're going to leave him out there. Are you kidding me? I mean, I want to be clear that I've seen video that suggests he has private security, and we certainly...
But why should he have to have private security?
100%. Secretary Mayorkas is in charge of this. The Homeland Security oversees Secret Service. Quote, I have determined that Secret Service protection for RFK Jr. is not warranted at this time. Our campaign's request included a 67-page report, he says, from the world's leading protection firm detailing unique and well-established security and safety risks aside from commonplace death threats. I think this is breathtaking. How petty can you...
commonplace death threats? Commonplace?
God forbid anything happens to this man. And there's been so much tragedy in his family. If he was at 1% in the polls, say, hey, he's just running to be a pain in the neck. He's a viable candidate. He's out there, and he's got a high profile.
I don't know. I don't think the Biden administration or many of these Democrats are worried about having blood on their hands. They already have it. Just another thing to add, unfortunately.
And I would add this. Guess who does have Secret Service protection? Colin Rugg reacted to RFK Jr., saying they denied the request. Below is a tax fraud, drug-addicted Hunter Biden with, yes, and we showed this last week, Karen, a 6-car motorcade that showed up to court last week for that plea deal that fell apart. Protection, and there it is. He's got Secret Service protection. Protection for me and not for thee. How is this possible that the crack addict son of the president gets secret? And again, the Trump family got protection. I think everybody should be safe.
It's equal and fair.
But how does RFK Jr.?
Right. It should be equal and fair. If those are the rules and this is why we provided and this is who we provided to, then this is what we do. But they don't follow the rules.
They clearly don't follow the rules, which is why Hunter Biden was in court at all, dealing with tax and gun charges. And the reason the plea deal fell apart is there's probably more crimes, whether it's not registering to be a foreign lobbyist, whether it's bribes and all the rest of it. And then he gets Secret Service protection, and RFK Jr. has to beg for it, has to wait weeks and weeks, and then is told no.
And has to take to social media to make sure that people know his story, because he probably is not going to be safe.
And we certainly hope for his safety and the safety of everybody out there on the campaign trail. But I thought we should put that on the record. Let's bring in our friend Andrew Phipps, as we see every Monday morning at this time. Mr. Phipps, good morning. Hope you had a good weekend.
Morning.
I did. Good morning. Good morning.
Let's just start there, because you're somebody who's got a little more white hair than I do, and that's not an insult. I think you've got more wisdom, and you lived through those assassinations of the 1960s. This was a difficult time. Let's add MLK to that as well. These were deep, dark tragedies in America, and the idea that the Biden administration would be this petty. What's your reaction this morning?
Well, you know, Robert Kennedy Sr. was in Indianapolis when Martin Luther King Jr.
That's right.
assassinated. And of course, I can remember the assassination of John Kennedy. Great tragedies for our nation. And I think that, like we were seeing there in the Congressman Mace and others, the level of morality has stooped it's stooped to such lows that it's hard for people like us to fathom it. For example, when we think about the level of maturity and all, Robert Kennedy Jr. needs some protection. I think that they all do. And, you know, I don't agree with him on a lot, but recently he said something about how that once our liberties are destroyed, it's almost impossible to get them back.
Yeah. Well, and Karyn, I would add RD518 is in our live chat on Getter, and we've got a live chat on Rumble as well. Check it out. And says the retired Dr. Fauci is getting government-funded security protection. Who's paying for that? We are, obviously. And who approved that? I would assume it would be the Biden administration. And again, I want Dr. Fauci to be safe. Even if you disagree with his policies, there were people who have threatened him. But RFK Jr., as Andrew's laying out, because of his stance on the vaccine and other things, has been threatened.
Oh, there was a risk. I mean, he said he had a 67-page assessment from the leading risk assessment company.
What do you need? What more do you need? Let's pivot forward. We were talking about Hunter Biden, and we're going to hear from Devin Archer today, one of his former business associates. Here's a Democrat, Dan Goldman. He was leading the first impeachment against Trump. He's now a Democrat congressman. Here he is making a fool of himself on one of the Sunday talk shows about Hunter Biden. Watch.
The White House press secretary this week said that a pardon for Hunter Biden is off the table, but we haven't heard President Biden himself rule it out. Do you think a pardon for his son would be a mistake?
Yes, and I don't think there's any chance that President Biden is going to do that, unlike his predecessor, who pardoned all of his friends and anyone who had any access to him. President Biden has restored the integrity of the Department of Justice, and I think you see that in this case, where he kept on, and Merrick Garland kept on, a Trump-appointed U.S. attorney to investigate the president's son. If there is not an indication of the independence of the Department of Justice beyond that, I don't know what we could look for.
So here's a Democrat claiming that the Biden Justice Department, Andrew, is a model of independence. When they tried to tell Devin Archer over the weekend, maybe you're going to jail so that you won't testify. What's your reaction to this?
Well, I wonder what the congressman is smoking. I don't know what he's got in the pipe, but obviously his brain is not working. He's blinder than a goose flying and him going backwards. He thinks he's in front. And I think that this is such, I don't know, to the American people, it's such idiocy. And to be put any kind of credibility behind these remarks, the reports I'm seeing that the Bidens may have gotten up to close $50 million. And I think that James Comer, out of that first district in Kentucky, I believe he will be as tenacious as can be. I don't see him as a quitter. I've been able to interview him on previous occasions. I think he's a man of integrity. He's a man of faith. The people in Kentucky respect him greatly, and I think he's going to be relentless in coming to the truth, and hopefully the truth will stand alone. You know, the Bible says you know the truth, and the truth will set you free. And that's the only thing we can hope for, is just to get the truth. But the tragedy is that the media, as you all know better than I can say it, will not report it. But hopefully they'll get on board.
Yeah, I seen a live chat, and you might have reacted here. The Pippi said, "Oh my God, Biden restored integrity. Are you serious?"
I said, "Put down Hunter's crack pipe right now."
Yeah, well, quoting Carrie Lake.
Yeah.
But there you go. Andrew, final thought.
I would say this, Ed and Karen, in my little study of American history, I really believe that we have never seen a more corrupt individual than Joe Biden. I believe if you go back to the Harding, or Grant administrations, any of those that we thought were failures, I think they look like something from heaven in comparison to what Joe Biden has done to this country. He lies. He loves to lie. He's a man of deceit. And I am glad now that he's recognizing his 7th grandchild. But what a tragedy that he has.
We're going to get into that. We're going to get into that next hour. Unbelievable that he would not recognize his grandchild until Friday night. A little news dump that so they wouldn't get a lot of attention on Saturday morning. He finally acknowledged the illegitimate child from Hunter. I'm glad you mentioned that. We're going to go into more depth on that next hour. Andrew, good to see you on Monday. Have a wonderful week. In the meantime, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back. Stay awake, not woke. That'll be sponsored by Beard Vet after a quick break.
In broad daylight. We're living on planet crazy.
Got a laptop full of China, hookers and blow.
What could be nicer than that? Hope you're enjoying your summer with your family and friends as we are in West Palm. It is time for Stay Awake, Not Woke. This is where we talk about simply the best coffee, no burnt soy or liberal tears like over at Starbucks.
No, you don't want that.
And now the greatest energy drink ever created. I had some friends texting me last week saying take the hand sanitizer off the set because I guess they saw this giant.
It sitting there.
You might see that at the airport or something, but if you turned it around, it says Beard Vent Energy. No calories, no sugar, very light taste. And you can just put a couple of pumps in whatever beverage is your beverage of choice. And I think Beard Vet is not just a great patriot who served this country as a Marine, but now he's trying to make us energy independent, as he likes to say.
He's succeeding.
And there he is. He's succeeding one energy pump at a time. In the meantime, let's put this up there from Sassy Texas Grandma. Got an idea. Put together a basket, maybe for Christmas, right? With Beard Vet, Artillery Tea, a Trader Joe's t-shirt, Carolina mustard, is that your deal?
Yes, that's my deal.
And a Rav mug, sell it to raise some money for a charity. So, hey, that could be something that you sell for Christmas, or maybe there's a special charity that we could put together and raise that. And I think that's a great idea.
It's a great idea.
Great to see the Real American Voices weighing in on that. Let's bring in our friend Terrance so we can talk about Stay Awake, Not Woke. Good morning again.
Hey, guys. Good morning. I think that's a great idea. That would be a cool gift basket. If we could make several of them, I suspect they would sell like hotcakes.
There you go. All right. So we'll put it out there. In the meantime, we talk about the woke agenda. This one's ridiculous. We'll probably talk about it quickly and move on. 18-year-old boy has died. And that's sad. Why? He tried to create a vagina from part of his colon. Now, this came from the UK. A trans-identified teenager died from complications that arose from that surgery. And I won't even detail it any longer. 18 years old. And you think about the tragedy of this. Like, what doctor performed this surgery?
Something they called medical ethics. Wasn't that a thing back in the day?
It was.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's experimentation. I don't care what anyone says. This is experimentation. These are unproven. These are unproven procedures. It amounts to little more than experimentation on someone, and it's shameful. Someone died now as a result here.
It's insane.
It's
it happened.
Genital mutilation.
It is, and it happened in the UK. But how long before it happens here? And 18 years old. So legal age to make a decision, perhaps. But I think your point is so valid. Where's the doctor saying Hippocratic oath? The kid died. Didn't get injured. Died because of this experimental surgery. Do no harm. Unbelievable. Let's move on. Jason Aldean still in the news. Look at this from Gateway Pundit. We'll be talking to Jim Hoff, their founder, in a minute. George Jones's widow is now furious over the attacks on Jason Aldean. Stop this woke crap, she said.
Wow. Good.
It's wonderful seeing all of these great patriots come together, Terrance. And I've now seen that Sound of Freedom crossed, I think, $200 million in ticket sales over the weekend. And it's still going. And this anti-woke movement that's saying enough is enough, and you see it in what we call this sort of MAGA marketplace, Terrance.
Yeah, and the great thing is that there are consumers out there who aren't chasing the headlines, who aren't letting the headlines prescribe how they go about life, the things that they're interested in, the things that they're going to look at, and they're going to find out for themselves. And so, fortunately, there are enough educated folks out there who are willing to say, you know what, whatever you say, I'm going to put that to the side. I'm going to find out for myself.
All right, let's go around the horn with some Real American Voices. I'll start. This from Pearl 19. Pearl's always fun when he writes to me because he says, hey, Ed, say hi to Karyn and Terrance. So hi, guys.
Hi.
Thanks. I have a great idea. They talk about this Leah Thomas and Transformers. Why don't they make a special category for him so they leave the men alone and the women alone and solve everything? Why don't we just have a trans competition? So if you're trans, jump into the pool.
You can just be in the right. I think that's amazing. I mean, but that's logical.
At first I was like, huh? And then I'm like, well, maybe that's the way to do it. Stop having the man jump into the women's pool. How about that?
Just have them all together. I think that's great. Well, you know what? There are song ideas coming in now.
Let's hear that.
Well, LoJack the Deplorable says, Ed Henry, your next song should be Global Warming My Bleep.
Bleep?
Yeah, bleep.
All right.
That's not the name of the song.
You're a lady, I understand.
I don't want to say it. But time is running out for the Great Barrier Reef. Climate change is set to wreck with irreversible damage by 2030.
Unreal. They lied about a lot of that. Terrance, the next one is for you because it's about the water bottle crisis in your house.
Yeah, initials on bottles it is from from KC Johnson 05. He writes, Ed, we write our initials on their bottles and stick them back on the fridge. Must drink those before opening up a new one. I'm not mad at that. We very well might have to try that at the Bates household because a lot of water going to waste.
All
Good
right.
idea.
It's a good idea. I love the Real American Voices. We'll take a quick break. Jim Hoft on the other side from Gateway Pundit with lots of scoops and analysis right after this. us, the big star would be the Real American Voices.
Jesus!
All right, yes. Lost his line there.
That's okay.
A very big thank you to Ed Henry and Karyn Turk and Terrance Bates on America's Sunrise. Watch America's Sunrise.
Welcome back to this American Sunrise.
Live from West Palm Beach.
All right.
And live from 1 Mile High in Denver, Colorado. So good to see each and every one of you. Ed and Karyn, good morning.
Good morning to you. Happy Devon Archer Day. We're going to get to some breaking news from Jim Hoft at the Gateway Pundit. We're just about an hour or so away from Devon Archer on Capitol Hill, spilling some secrets about the Bidens. We'll have some breaking news from Gateway Pundit. I'm looking at our live chat on Getter. So many people in there, so many in the live chat on Rumble as well. But Trixie in the Mix said something interesting about that. We were talking about all, the threats from the left. Oh, you're going to die from climate change and all this. She actually said, Terrance, I died from acid rain back in 1979. So good to see that Trixie is still here.
Yes.
She's right. There's so many things that they told us we'd die from.
Yeah.
She died from acid rain. I don't know. I'm sure there are people out there. Why don't you put in the live chat what what they warned you about that turned out to not be true?
Yeah, there are all sorts of things. We were just talking about hairspray in the ozone layer, Aquanet hairspray, and the damage that we did to the ozone layer in the 80s.
That's right. Everyone was scared for a while to do that. The hairspray. And I don't know. It didn't really do anything.
You know what? I'm going to take it even back further. Lard. Remember your grandma used to cook with lard? Everything was lard, like it's oil. And they said, oh my God, lard, it's going to kill you. I'm still around. Might be a bit fatter, but I'm still around after eating all kinds of lard.
No, you're looking good. Come on, don't say that. You're looking. By the way, did you change into purple when you saw we had purple, or did you pick that? Because you got like a yellow tie and a purple, I'm just noticing.
Oh, yeah. No, I picked. So there's always a story with the clothes. So I pulled out the purple one. I had a white tie tie. And I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do something different. And I was like, it doesn't really match. And white on TV, it doesn't really work. So I just chose this tie instead. But I have another tie that I thought of.
Yeah, we're in sync. Nice job, Terrance, as always. I'm going to put this up. You want to talk about style? I'm not buying it. I'm mad at it.
Take it down.
Oh, and this is Chris Jackson, who promotes all Biden things. Nobody bleeps with a Biden vibe from Biden today in Delaware on the beach. Terrance and Karyn, what do you think about this old man wandering around the beach?
It's an old man wandering around the beach.
Oh, yeah?
There he is.
Yeah,
somebody get Bernie. Somebody grab Bernie.
Weekend at Bernie's. It's got Weekend at Bernie's
vibes for sure, yeah.
Yeah. It's just the opposite when you watch the latest TV ad from the Trump campaign. Watch.
What do you call someone this weak? Someone caught in a bribery scandal that made them millions, complicit in a government cover-up, and uses your government to get special deals for his family? You call them Joe Biden. And acting just like a corrupt third-world dictator, Biden has unleashed a cadre of unscrupulous government bureaucrats he controls to act like rabid wolves and attack his greatest threat, launching one of the greatest witch hunts in history. But Biden's underestimated the intelligence of voters, and Trump's support is growing even stronger as hardworking Americans come together in huge numbers to stand with the one person they know has their backs and will fight to make America great again.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
They say pick your warrior. How about the guy right there at a rally compared to Biden on the beach?
I love it. I mean, he's just it's power. It's pure Trump power.
No, absolutely. And the fact that President Biden can be hanging out on the beach and no one seems to care. I mean, that's the president of the country, and people are like, oh, okay, there you go over there.
By the way, I got Jay Gritchie is in the chat. He says Ed and Karyn died in the 90s when Florida went underwater. I wasn't living here. You were.
I was.
Were people saying that?
Not really. I mean, 2000, but yeah.
Angelo got you the car and then you drove down here.
Yeah, I came down here. Yeah, but it wasn't underwater when I got here. That's the good news.
But Pelosi in recent years have been saying Miami will be underwater in like 2 years, and AOC and all the rest, and then AOC comes down to Miami to vacation. I wonder how all that works. Why don't we turn to a word salad? Your word salad, Vice President. Watch.
The nature of democracy there are two sides to it in terms of the nature of it. There's a duality. On the one hand, when democracy is intact, it is incredibly strong in terms of the strength it bestows on the individuals in terms of their rights and their freedoms. Incredibly strong in terms of what it does for its people. On the other hand, it's very fragile. Our democracy will only be as intact as our willingness to fight for it. And so fight we must, and fight we will.
On the one hand.
Fight we will on one hand, and then on the other hand.
Terrance?
You know what? The more I listen to her, particularly that sort of thing, I get Nancy Pelosi vibes, young Nancy Pelosi vibes. It sounds to me a lot like, is it me? It sounds to me a lot like even the intonation, the cadence. It sounds a lot like Nancy
we're in
Pelosi.
Kindergarten. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe like sober Pelosi. Like sober.
So she's got less sober as the years went by. All right. I got a second one. How about a double dose of word salad? This one is about the judicial system and justice reform, which I think we need. There's two tiers of justice. Here's her take. Watch.
And it includes what we need to do, for example, with the pipeline. And that is about restructuring and thinking about how we restructure, how we think about what causes people to enter the system and addressing those things.
Yeah, addressing all that. People in the
thing
system.
that we do when we do it.
Yeah.
The thing.
I'm going to push forward because it was just teed up last hour. Joe, over the weekend, finally acknowledged he has a 7th grandchild. You see the story. They gave it to People magazine, made this big deal on Friday night, bury it. little news dump. Jill and I only want what is best for all of our grandchildren, including Navy. This is an illegitimate child there from Hunter. Don't focus on that, though. How about the first time he was asked? There's the People magazine article. But go back to when he was first asked 4 years ago about this and how cavalier he was. When I think it was Peter Ducey said, hey, congratulations, you just had another grandchild. Watch.
Meeting with the Bears. I'm wondering if you have a comment on this report and court filing out of Arkansas that your son Hunter just made you a grandfather again.
No, that's a private matter. I have no comment.
Mr. Vice President,
But only you would ask that. You're a good man. You're a good man.
Thank you, guys. This is all the time we have. Mr. Vice
Yeah, and he turns it into a beat up on Peter Ducey.
Only you, right? Only you would ask
Only you would
that.
ask that. Well, he asked about whether or not you got another grandchild, and you know, for 4 years, Terrance, it's pretty evil that they wouldn't acknowledge it.
How rude!
Right. It's crazy, and just be gracious and say, yeah, it is a private matter, but Hunter's going to be dealing with it, and it looks like we've got a new family member, and keep moving. Be gracious. We all get it's a personal matter, but you're the president of the United States or you're an elected official. At that point, it's not a personal matter anymore. It's in the public sphere because you're a public servant.
Yeah, when you talk about it being in denial, look at these Democrats when they're asked about the bribes and all the evidence. This is Meet the Press. Watch.
Let me ask you this. Do you think it would behoove the president for him to come out and say, hey, I had no business dealings with my son. My son's issues are my son's issues. Do you think he needs to say that more directly? Because there's a lot of people that believe something else would happen here.
Well, let's be clear about that point, Chuck. There's been a 5-year investigation, 5 years, by a Trump-appointed U.S. attorney. This investigation started during the Trump administration, and they've come forward with not one shred of evidence tying President Biden to any of this.
Come on, not a shred of evidence? This is the talking point they put up. All of these Democrats...
Do you think he needs to come out and say it? He said it before that he's not involved, but we know he is.
Terrance?
Well, we're expecting lots of shreds in about 49 minutes from now.
Yeah.
Actually, 51.
How will that work?
51 minutes. We're going to hear from Devin Archer. And the expectation is, again, that he's going to testify that he was in the room. He witnessed it himself. He witnessed phone calls. He witnessed President Biden, then Vice President Biden meeting with Hunter Biden and other foreign companies. So that evidence is expected to come out in short order.
And by the way, President Trump was not buying any of the Democrat excuses. At his rally, we were streaming live this weekend from Erie, PA. Watch.
Not only is crooked Joe Biden the most incompetent president in American history, he can't even put two sentences together. Joe Biden is the most corrupt president in American history. The Biden's colossal scams, money laundering, and criminality make Hillary Clinton look like a very beautiful angel.
Hillary Clinton looks like a little angel now.
Wow, who thought?
Who would have thunk it? After she used bleach spit and a hammer and everything to destroy evidence. But we moved on from that somehow. Let's bring in our friend Jim Hoft. He never moves on from these Democrat scandals, and he's got some new information this morning. Jim, first of all, good morning. Welcome back.
Hey, Jim.
Good morning. Hey, I have another government lie for you, and that is you take the vaccine, you won't catch COVID. How about that one?
Yep, they did that.
That was a good one.
Outrageous, and I'm glad you call it out. You do every single day. Let's get to the story today that's breaking. You have new information about Devin Archer and House Republicans trying to hold him accountable. We've got a story up there. That's from over the weekend, but you've got new information this morning. What you got?
Well, yeah, this really blew up after the DOJ sent out this letter on Saturday. And so by Sunday, the DOJ puts out another letter to retract what they said on Saturday because it blew up in their faces. Kevin McCarthy put out a tweet, which was a strong statement by McCarthy asking, what is the Biden DOJ trying to hide? Great question. The fact that they're intimidating this person before he goes before Congress, as you said, in 50 minutes. And then last night, Matt Gaetz, our friend, put out a tweet saying we need to have Congress reconvene. We need the Oversight Committee to reconvene and just have me talk. You can reserve your time for myself, and I'll do the talking. Several other Republicans jumped on this, and they're saying that that Congress should reconvene and hold hearings on the DOJ. And that included Gates, Mike Johnson from Louisiana, Chip Roy from Texas, Harriet Hageman from Wyoming, and Dan Bishop from North Carolina. So good for them. They called out Congress to come back from their month-long recess and get to work on this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, McCarthy should listen.
Mm-hmm. As a sign of things to come is what we have to hope, is that this is going to be a change for the better.
Yeah, Terrance, you want to jump in too?
Right, and it sounds to me a lot like we're seeing some of these more right-leaning Republicans really say, okay, look, guys, enough is enough. We really have to sink some teeth into all the talk that we've put out here right now, and the Matt Gaetzes of the world are now starting to do that. The big question, it seems to me, is will some of these other more centrist Republicans actually fall in line?
I think that's a great question, Terrance. And, I was pleased to see that Mike Johnson jumped in on this. He's usually pretty cerebral, pretty, as you said, more moderate, I guess, but very much, strong with his opinions. But I was glad to see him and Chip Roy jump in on this.
No doubt about it. Let's go to the next one here, because we talked last hour about this. And as important as the Biden corruption story is, what about China? And you're on this all the time. Chinese-linked biolab discovered in Fresno County, California. They had over 900 mice genetically engineered to catch and carry the COVID-19 virus. Reports out this morning about how there were other viruses in this lab. I mean, what do we know about this today? Karyn was making the point last hour. This is what we know at this point. What else is China up to on our soil?
This is unbelievable, isn't it? So you have some sort of a clandestine laboratory in Fresno County. They found this lab because somebody noticed a garden hose going up the wall and going inside the building. When they investigated, it's unbelievable. They found 900 mice. They said that they were kept in poor conditions. They find all of these different viruses in there, and then they have these statements like this that just kind of blow your mind away. That 900 of the mice are genetically engineered with COVID. It's like, do we really need that in California? It's really unbelievable. And the founders of this company, Prestige Biotech, have some connections to China. So again, what is going on? This is unbelievable. The company supposedly makes pregnancy tests and COVID tests, but it looks like a dump. I've worked actually in laboratories before, and it shouldn't look like this, by the way. It just this looks, like it's ripe for infestation and spreading of some bacterial agents or virus. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, those pictures are pretty telling.
Yeah, and we made the point last hour as well. When it was revealed that there were Chinese police stations in America, we were called conspiracy theorists. Yeah. I'm sure you were on that story at the time. And then FBI officials under oath on Capitol Hill had to admit that was true. It was not a conspiracy theory. So I'm trying to, what else do they have here? They've got police stations, biolabs with potential bioweapons in there. What is going on? Sure. And it's a rhetorical question, but I wonder why Joe Biden is not doing anything to stand up to China. Maybe it ties back to Devin Archer.
It could. Maybe that Rosemont Seneca that we're going to hear about today with Hunter and Devin Archer, maybe that will come up today in the hearings.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Jim, I'm glad you brought the hearings up, because I've got this theory that's kind of percolating my brain. Brace yourself here. There's the whole idea that he should be going back to jail, that Devin Archer, obviously convicted of a crime, should probably be spending about a year in prison. One would have thought that the DOJ, the powers that be, would have used that case to try to question Devin Archer's credibility moving into today's deposition. But did they shoot themselves in the foot by sending this letter on Saturday saying, oh, let's get this guy arrested, let's move forward with sending him to prison, because that seems to paint the picture that there is credibility to what he might have to say today.
Well, they must be scared to death, I think, Devin Archer, as they should be. We've seen the laptop. I mean, we all know the evidence that's out there. I did appreciate the attorneys for Devin Archer. They put out a statement and said, we're still in the appeal process. They're talking about sending him to prison, but we're still in the appeal process. They jumped the gun on this, which, again, makes it look even more suspicious that they sent this out 2 days on a weekend, 2 days before his hearing on Monday, and they sent this out on Saturday. It's very strange. But not a coincidence.
But did that backfire in some way because he's still going to be in there today?
Yeah, and Matt Gaetz, to your original point, and others stood up and said, we're not going to stand for this. And I see people on social media this morning on the right, Jim, and I wanted to test this with you, who are saying this is Donald Trump's mantra, right, which is to punch back and fight. And there are too many Republicans like McCarthy who they don't get any answers from this corrupt DOJ, or something comes in from the DOJ saying they're going to arrest one of the witnesses. And I didn't hear from him. Yeah, McCarthy did nothing. Yeah. It was because Matt Gaetz had the cojones to say, we're not standing for this. Then DOJ backed down. Do you take a lesson from that?
No, I think that's a great point. I think, as you said, Republican voters, Trump supporters are tired of this. We see the crimes. Like last week, we saw several senators come out and say they're not going to support impeachment at this time. And we put out a post saying, wait a minute, you have a laptop, you have witnesses, you have photos, you have emails from the laptop, you have whistleblowers, and you have people coming forward to testify. What else do you need? Right. They have everything to impeach Joe Biden and Merrick Garland and Chris Wray, by the way. We're putting up, by the way, more information on Chris Wray today, how another investigation was killed on election integrity. And it went to the FBI, and that's where it dies, just like the others. Wow. So all of these guys should be held to account.
They should be. Yeah. One last story that we should get on the record. Let's put it up about COVID and the new CDC director. That basically Dr. Mandy Cohen announced that her agency anticipates the COVID-19 vaccine to become an annual vaccination, much like the flu shot. Sounds to me like they haven't learned anything from what Dr. Wolf, Dr. McCullough, and others have been saying, sir.
Well, it sounds to me like she might be working for Pfizer or Moderna. I mean, that's what it sounds like, right? I think it's shocking. I don't think people are going to go along with it now that we continue to hear about all these problems people are having after taking the first vaccine, and that the fact that they didn't work, that would be helpful if they worked, but we know that they don't. You still can spread the disease. You still can catch the disease. So, I don't think people will go for this. We have a great picture of this new CDC director in a mask with Dr. Fauci's face on it. So it tells you everything you need to know about this woman.
Certainly does.
That sure does.
And her predecessor lied about breast milk and the vaccine and all kinds of things, and finally had to step down. And it sounds like they found somebody just as worse, or maybe worse.
Maybe worse.
Just as bad or worse. Jim Hoff, we appreciate you calling it out. Make sure you check the Gateway Pundit throughout the week on Devin Archer and the rest of it. In the meantime, we'll take a quick break. Coming up, Frank Kavanaugh's coming on. I don't know if you've heard about the American Liberty Awards. These are pretty cool. They're coming up in the great state of Texas. And Real America's Voice is a nominee. Let's make sure Rav wins. We'll talk to Frank right after this. Yeah, remember that because it's going to lead in perfectly to our next segment. Download and stream. It's still going strong. And this segment, by the way, is Time to Drain the Swamp. So let's get to that, and I'll explain where we're going with 81 million right after that. Yeah, this is sponsored by SeaofMud.com. Use that promo code RAV1776. Some great T-shirts, other apparel. Kyle Conforti, great patriot who runs the company, will be joining us tomorrow to talk about his move from California over to the great state of Tennessee.
I can't wait. I'm so excited for his family.
Yeah, so his family's moving, the business is moving, and he's got a Kari Lake T-shirt there, an 81 million votes T-shirt. So make sure you support him at SeaofMud.com, one of our great partners here at RAV. And Karyn, we've been talking about the aliens and the UFOs. Even the aliens know about Kari Lake and her big song. Look at this from Clone 47, 81 billion votes my bleep, as you said last hour.
See?
So there we are in the background with the great Terrance Bates. And there appears to be an alien being who
he knows what's up.
They know what's going on.
Yeah.
So support Sea of Mud, and that leads us to our next segment. The man's name is Frank Kavanaugh, and he's with the American Liberty Awards, which I didn't know about until a couple weeks ago. But 81 million votes, my bleep, as Karyn says, is one of the nominees. So let's bring in Frank. Frank, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, Ed. Good morning, Karyn. 81 million votes, my ass. You know, if you look at the Americans' music scene right now, the conservative side owns it. And I was watching we all saw the infamous fake slap between Chris Rock and Will Smith. It was the weakest slap in American history between two of the weakest men ever. And that slap was like a slap on the bottom of this award show. And I sat there and I said, someone really needs to make an award show. Why don't they make an award show for us? And I'm talking to everyone listening to me right now. I'm the dude who was like, okay, I guess I'll do it. I'll just do it because I think that I can pull it off. I asked God, and God was like, do it. And it's here. It's going to happen August 12th in Austin, Texas at the Vulcan. And it's an award show for America because Americana is what's getting canceled right now. It's also an award show for the canceled, and we're giving up awards for best broadcast media, best print media. Jim Hoff is nominated. Real America Voice is nominated. We also we want to present to the American public a list of the freedom fighters, the soldiers in this army of light. And so we have categories on the best lawyer, the best doctor. Dr. McCullough is nominated. The most powerful song, the best comedian, the best meme makers. We're in World War III. I firmly believe it started with COVID, but this war is not with guns. This war is with information. And in order for us to win the war, we win every battle. We have the armor of God and the laser sharp spear of truth are our weapons. And so we win every battle. But why do we keep losing? And the reason we keep losing is because we relinquish the battleground. We don't say we're not retreating anymore. So the American Liberty Awards is a declaration to the globalists, to the world that our side is right. We're winning. We are unapologetic, and we're not retreating. And it's a night so that everyone can get together and meet and celebrate the victories that we're having, because it is a hard fight. And I believe that Satan, the Luciferian beast system, it thrives on us actually fighting it. It likes chaos. It likes us being upset and worried. And so in order to fight that, don't fight it. The best revenge is a life well lived. And that's what we're doing. Everyone here has been canceled. They do dirty tricks on us to silence our voices. And what are we going to do? We're going to be us still, and we're going to thrive, and we're going to survive, and these people have, including you guys.
Well, great. Yeah, well, people need to vote, by the way. I don't interrupt, but I want to bring Karyn in. AmericanLibertyAwards.com. Vote for RAV. Vote for 81 million votes. Let's make sure the Patriots win.
Yes,
but I love it. It's inspirational.
I'm listening to this, and I'm thinking, you said it was a slap on the bottom. Did you have this award show before? Is this the first year? What inspired you to do this? What did you do before? And why Austin, Texas?
Well, Austin, Texas. Austin, Texas is the new Hollywood. So it's and so they have the Academy Awards every year. We want to have the Libbies in Austin, the Libbies, which will blow liberal heads brains even more, because that it's a thumb in the eye of the globalists and the left, saying you're not winning, we're winning. The whole name of the award show is the American Liberty Awards over art and culture, because that is where this fight is, and we're winning. They're losing very bad, but apparatus of the propaganda machine firmly in control. So we have to provide a place where people can come and be happy about what's going on. Also, the world is waking up, and they don't know where to go and who to listen to. If you go to the AmericanLibertyAwards.com, it's a list of every single person in multiple categories that you can go to with hyperlinks where you can check out their content, and you find it yourself what you like. If you don't like Steve Bannon, you don't like Alex Jones, you go to Jack Posobiec. You know, that's what I want. I want it to be an educational tool as well.
Love it. Frank, I can't imagine there's anybody who doesn't like Steve Bannon. He'll be on in about 31 minutes right here in the War Room. But in all seriousness, you emailed me last night and you said, so we don't, some people it might be hard to get to Austin, Texas. We have people all around the country, all around the world watching American Sunrise. Yeah. But if you're anywhere near Texas, or maybe you want to get a little vacation down in Austin, go to American Liberty Awards, buy some tickets. And you're saying if you use the promo RAV, people are going to get a discount?
You didn't hear about it until a couple weeks ago. We had an issue with sending out notifications to all the nominees. So the Truth Bombers didn't even know that they were nominated until a couple weeks ago. So we extended the vote. Oh, wow. We extended the vote until August 8th. And for all the Real America Voice viewers, we're going to give you a 20% discount on tickets until then. So that you come on and see us, have a good time.
Come on down to Austin then. That sounds great. Sir. Frank, we appreciate that you're in the fight and fighting for freedom. Check them out, AmericanLibertyAwards.com. Make sure you're voting for Real America's Voice. The economic headline sponsored by AMAC.
The Association of Mature American Citizens is the conservative voice for Americans 50 and older. AMAC is fighting for the values that you hold dear. Join today. Together, we can write the course of America.
All right, time to turn to the economic news, but how inspiring to hear about. Let's have some alternative. Nobody's watching the Academy Awards or anything anymore. Everyone's tired of Hollywood. They're out on strike anyway. And let's support freedom and liberty and conservatives, America First patriots. I love it.
Yeah, it's great.
Terrance?
And we've got some votes already. I'm seeing in the chat that some of our viewers have already voted for Ravin for this show. So maybe we can even present an award there. That might be cool as well. But let's get to this morning's economic headlines, guys. As the Biden administration focuses on clean and renewable energy, a brand new nuclear reactor is up and running in Georgia, sending power to tens of thousands of homes across the Southeast. Just this morning, Georgia Power announced that the first new American reactor that was built from scratch in decades is now online and fully operational. It's located just southeast of Augusta, Georgia, and it can power 500,000 homes and businesses at its full output. Utilities in Georgia, Florida, and Alabama are already receiving electricity from this new reactor. Another reactor is slated to be finished and operational by March. However, the new reactors come with a massive price tag. Initially, they were supposed to cost about $14 billion, but the ultimate price tag ballooned to $31 billion. We're just days away from the Durban Accords, which is the greatest threat to the U.S. dollar's global dominance in the past 80 years. On August 22nd, BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, are expected to announce the launch of a new international supercurrency that's fully backed by gold or other commodities. This is all part of their long-term plan to supplant the United States and the U.S. dollar as cornerstones of the global financial system. So, how can you protect your IRA or your 401k from the fallout from this landmark announcement? Well, the answer is simply to diversify with gold from the Birch Gold Group. Historically, gold has been a safe haven in times of high uncertainty, and right now is one of those times. Get a free information kit on gold IRAs and decide for yourself if a tax-sheltered retirement account backed by physical precious metals is right for you. Just text the word America to the number 989898. There will be a monumental shift happening among nations that control 1/3 of the world's GDP, and it kicks off on August 22nd. So arm yourself with information to protect your retirement savings simply by texting the word America to the number 989898 and claiming your free information kit on gold from the Birch Gold Group. That's a quick check of your economic headlines. I'm the Money Man.
There you go.
Money Man.
So Kevin in our live chat on Getter is saying, I'm only an hour from Austin, and I'm going to go to that. So there you go. Support Rab and the Liberty Awards. They call them the Libbies. And I think it's interesting because other people in chat are saying, I hate Austin. It's so liberal. It's a liberal city, but it's a conservative state, and, they got good food and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been to Austin many a times. Quite honestly, the food is good. There's great entertainment. Apart from the politics within the city, as you say, the city is kind of an outlier, if you will, when it comes to politics in Texas as a whole.
No doubt about it. Terrance, appreciate you as always, the Money Man. We're going to take a quick break. Coming up, we'll have Natalia Middlestat with a 60-second sunrise. We're kind of tired. Joe Webbs has been getting so much attention. We'll make sure Natalia gets the attention next from Just the News. And coming up, David Carroll, a great patriot there from Red Steak Barbecue. He's got the horns behind his head, and he's ready to go right after this.
I got 46 problems, but the truth ain't one. Hit me.
Sunrise in the War Room right after.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the meantime, it's time for a 60-second sunrise. Joey. Oh, wait, it's Natalia. We don't want to make you feel bad. You're awesome. But have you heard, Natalia Middlestat's here from Just the News, have you heard about Joe Weber's newfound celebrity and how excited people are to see him?
Yes, he's been telling me about it.
He has.
I love that. So he goes around the office talking about how famous he is. Is that what you're telling me?
He says that he's heard a lot from you guys in the Getter crowd, apparently.
Apparently, yeah. He's
go.
a big celebrity.
Is it going to his head? Is he still nice around the coffee machine?
Oh, yeah, he's great.
All right, good.
Okay, good.
All right, we'll get down to business then. Natalia, you're a great reporter. As always, let's put it up. Texas, the latest state there at Just the News, to leave the voter roll integrity group, ERIC, amid concerns of partisanship. And ERIC stands for Election Integrity Group, I guess, is the acronym. What is the issue with this group? Is it not doing its job? Is it not cleaning up the voter rolls? What's the controversy?
Yeah, so the Electronic Registration Information Center, or ERIC, is supposed to help states clean their voter rolls by having all of the states work together and compare who's on their voter rolls and who's not, so they can see if anybody's double voting or across state lines. But however, a lot of GOP states, 9 with Texas now, have said that ERIC is actually not really doing that, despite its claims, and the fact the founder was also leftist partisan is also concerns they've had. And so GOP-led states are now leaving ERIC, at least since last year. And some of them are trying to create their own version of it that will actually better maintain their voter rolls.
All right.
Yeah, wouldn't that be great?
It would be great
of
if
elections.
they focused on election integrity instead of all the nonsense back and forth. Maybe some people are going to actually clean it up. By the way, I don't want you to feel bad because the moderator in our live chat, RavMod1, she typically changes the name of her account during Joey's.
Joe Weber, like
I love Joey,
Joe.
yeah. And so today it's Natalia's #1 fan, RavMod1. So you got a lot of fans as well. I want to make sure you know that.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, Natalia, we appreciate it. And make sure you're checking out Just the News, justthenews.com. Whether it's Natalia, whether it's Joe, or whether it's the man himself, Joe, the man, the myth, the legend, John Solomon. There you go. The time to turn to 2024 is getting saucy. Yeah, this is sponsored by Red State Barbecue. Make sure you go to redstatebbq.com. Use that promo code RAV10 to get 10% off. We got a special treat today. Terrance will join us as we bring in the man himself, David Carroll from Red State Barbecue, one of our partners. David, good morning. Welcome.
Morning.
Good morning. Get T-Man in here, too. I love it.
You are the man, the myth, the legend. I wanted to be part of this. Go ahead.
How's the summer going? What are people buying? How are the cookouts going? Tell us about America right now, my friend.
Well, because of this show, and Karyn, they're buying a lot of South Carolina mutton. Let me tell you that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we've had to put in a couple orders and pick some up out of Louisville, where our bottle supplier is. But otherwise, we're cruising right along, and we're smoking it up every day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And so people have been coming out and getting a lot of people that are still coming in. Our RAV family and your viewers are coming in and saying, hey, we've seen you on RAV and we love it. And thanks for supporting the program and all that stuff. So it's been really neat. It's a lot of fun for our staff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that's fun, but, there's these stories about when Taylor Swift goes to a city and there's the South Carolina mustard. It's like it's a stimulant to the economy, and the hotels are sold out and cities make more money than ever. Are you saying that Karyn is stimulating the economy there in the great Lexington, Kentucky?
She's definitely stimulating it on our e-commerce, that's for sure.
I love that.
That's right.
Yeah.
I ate that sauce last night.
You did?
So my friend Jacqueline came over, and I took every kind of cheese I had left in my refrigerator, and I made these cheese quesadillas, and then we dipped them in the South Carolina mustard, and it was delicious.
Yeah, well, and I tell you what, Ed, the pictures that you threw up on Friday from your home-cooked meals, that did create some churn in the e-commerce area over here. So
there you go. Well, I listened to Karyn and got the Carolina mustard, but I think I also put the Kentucky bourbon on some turkey burgers or something like that. But I know Terrance has some favorites as well. Jump on in.
Oh, I do have favorites. But, David, I'm curious. For me, I'm one of those people, summertime is high time for barbecuing in my home. Typically, once it starts to get a little cooler out here, October is when things when I kind of come inside. Do you see sales kind of taper back later on in the year as people kind of start, or as the weather changes and people don't go out and barbecue as much?
Well, I mean, it is a seasonal business, so you're going to see some of that. But, for us, we're over here in the Southeast, kind of. And so, it's football season, and so tailgate kicks in after this. So like Labor Day is coming up, right? So we'll have Labor Day in a couple of weeks. And then after that, it's tailgating season. So that kicks into gear. And so we'll kind of tether through that. until we get to Thanksgiving, and then we're smoking turkeys out the wazoo, and that's
smoking turkeys.
That's a technical term, smoking turkeys out the wazoo. Can I put up? I think our team in Denver did a great job and put up. So this was Karyn's suggestion you mentioned. I'm not much of a cook, but so this is macaroni and cheese, which I don't really make a lot of, but she mentioned I happen to have one in the cabinet. So these are just traditional macaroni and cheese, a little butter there, and then there's a turkey burger. The point is not about my cooking, but the South Carolina mustard. I added some of that.
You added the bird rub.
Oh, the bird rub, right. I'm mixing
seasoning.
up because I put the South Carolina mustard on the rice.
Yes.
But go ahead. So why did you say bird rub, which is normally put on meat to marinate and season, that you put it on macaroni and cheese pasta? Talk about that.
On the macaroni and cheese, it's got a little bit of a spice to it. It just gives it a little kick. It gives it a little more flavor, and it brings out that cheddar flavor in the cheese. It's just beautiful.
Are there other combos like that? Go ahead.
I love that you guys are experimenting with this stuff because I'm all about that kind of stuff. So we have a kitchen commissary over here where our catering team works out of. And I tell them, it's like, you have a kitchen all to yourself. So you guys, just go ahead and explore to your heart's content. And I'm totally down with that. So what you guys are doing is fantastic.
David, you guys should come up with a cookbook for kind of non-traditional uses of your sauces and your rubs. Just like that with the macaroni and cheese. Maybe do a macaroni and cheese with your bird rub or something else. I'm telling you, I think that would be a great seller for you. I just want 10% of the profits, but that would be a great seller for you.
Anything for you, T.
Oh, my man.
Hey, don't forget.
Yeah.
Don't forget, if people go online right now, if they buy 3 bottles of barbecue sauce, we'll throw in the remoulade sauce for free.
Ooh.
That's great. And what's the remoulade good on?
Remoulade is classically used for fried foods, for like seafood and stuff like that. But you can also use it for things like fried green tomatoes. So there's other. I've got friends though. Speaking of experimentation, they've used it on steaks. They've used it on sandwiches, all kinds of stuff. So it's a good sauce, and it's really kind of fun. It's one that I've been trying to get to market for several years. We finally did it. So we just need to get it out there and get people to taste it.
Well, it's good too. Is like a dipping sauce. So I like to do the grilled peppers and then dip the grilled peppers in that sauce. It's delicious.
Interesting.
That's good.
Can I put up something, David? This is G11, guys. New York City, we heard about the gas stoves. We'll get to that maybe in a minute. But they're now banning these little ketchup things that takeout orders come with. No napkins in the takeout orders because they think it wasted. This is just one of those things that get people really burned up. Talk about government regulations on top of the taxes and what that does to a small business like yourself. Like, this has not hit Lexington, Kentucky yet, but New York City will do it, LA will do it, and sooner or later folks will be doing it near you and changing your business and angering your customers.
Okay, so, and Ed, I've joked with you about this, but this stuff is getting so crazy, especially with the ESG and everything that they're trying to do there. And can you imagine that maybe whatever bank I'm with, they decide because of the kind of business we have where we're smoking meats, okay?
Right.
They debank us, right? So you're going to do smokeless barbecue? That doesn't make any sense, So I mean, all the regulation, all this stuff is just overzealous. It's ridiculous. Our expenses are high enough as it is. The typical margin for a restaurant business is 10% earnings. Okay, we're definitely getting squeezed on that because we're not seeing that right now. So it's all very frustrating. I mean, I've worked my whole life to get to this point where I own a business. It's now been 10 years, and now it's been like the toughest. This has been like the toughest year that we've experienced in a while. It's very disheartening. Man, I was pushing lawnmowers at 12 years old. Hitting up old ladies to mow their lawns for 10 and 15, 20 bucks. I go through my whole life, go through college, finish college, get my degree, work, do all this. And I get to this point, business ownership. And it's like, you're being punished for success.
Wow.
So all this different stuff, it's so stupid and it's ridiculous. And it's like, just stay away. Just stay away from us.
But you're saying this is your worst year. I mean, in terms of challenges, the Biden folks, we talk about it all the time. Bidenomics is working. You just don't listen to their sales pitches.
Ushering in socialism, or has it working?
Right. That's what they claim. You're saying there's a different picture out there with the reality.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the expense of everything that we're having to deal with, supposedly inflation's going down, and we're asking our suppliers, our representatives for those suppliers, it's like I'm sitting in on these meetings and I'm like, what the heck's going on? It's like, if inflation's going down, why are the prices of brisket and pork going up? It's like, like 2 years ago, we were paying like $1.16 for a pound of pork, and now it's up to $1.60, and so you're talking about brisket that's $4, it's like prime ribs gone up. It's all this stuff has gone up, and it's not so, we were dealing with a situation for a while where it's disposables, where it was the stuff like the plastic utensils, like you were just talking about. Right. So the stuff going up, even the handy wipes, like you get when you get ribs or something like that you eat with your fingers, the sanitary wipes that you will wipe your hands off, all that stuff got jacked. But now it's back to the meats, and the meats are going up. So we're getting hit on all levels.
Yeah, it's everything.
Bidenflation, as we say.
I will say this, okay? So this all sounds very negative, but I think that what the Rav family, the viewers out there, what they need to take heart in is perseverance. This has all been very difficult, and it's going to continue for a little while longer. Hopefully not too long, but we've got to persevere through this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great words.
Yeah. And you've got a good product, my friend. So you are going to, not only are you persevering, but you are going to succeed because you've got a good quality product. You heard it from me.
God bless you.
That's
James.
right.
Yeah.
All right, David Carroll, we appreciate it. Check him out at redstatebbq.com. Use that promo code RAV10. You see him. It's a much different story than what they're telling you in the swamp.
Absolutely. It's real Americans, real American voices.
That's right. That's what the show's all about. That's what the network's all about. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll spill some tea as well. We got another patriotic company we'll talk about, the Artillery Tea Co. right after this. Yeah, put down Hunter's crackpot. You know, that's applicable when you listen to David Carroll. Great pick.
Yeah.
They keep saying Biden inflation's not real. It's all coming down. You heard him say it. I'm quoting him directly. And he said, meanwhile, the meat comes in from the supplier.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, Biden's saying the inflation's coming. No, the prices are still up here. So where's inflation really come down?
And he's saying it's every cost. And we know that going to the supermarket. I know when I buy paper towels. He's talking about handy wipes. Every single thing has gone up exponentially.
People in our live chat are saying if you go to London, you got to pay for the ketchup packets. That's coming to America. Time to spill some tea. Yeah, this is simply the best tea. Go to artilleryteaco right now. .com, the morning mother of all bombs. That's the one that gets you going. You can get the decaffeinated version that I have, or all the caffeine. And then in the meantime, take a look at this. You like the chamomile. It smells great. It tastes great. You get 2 cups of tea for every single.
You do. You know what I had last night, though? I had the green tea with the peach or the apricot. It was delicious.
Is that right?
It was really good. Yeah,
I love the green tea. So you did that.
I had that last night when my friend was over.
That's great. Well, I hope Jacqueline enjoyed it. I love that green tea. Maybe I'll have some this afternoon. In the meantime, when you spill some tea, look at how the mainstream media has flipped on whistleblowers.
The attack on the whistleblower is never wise. It's never lawful. It's never honorable. It's everything you said. It's a travesty. And I'm not going to call them whistleblowers.
They don't deserve whistleblower protection. Each and every one of them has a strange history, has, guess what, Russian connections.
They always do.
These are not, as we would consider them, whistleblowers, people who are alleging wrongdoing.
They weren't really whistleblowers at all. In fact, they weren't even credible witnesses.
2 or 3 people who are political operatives, but they're not whistleblowers. These guys are not whistleblowers, period.
Is a hardworking, patriotic person in the intelligence community who just wants to put the information out there.
The president to call into question the credibility of this whistleblower. They're referring to this whistleblower as the so-called whistleblower.
So-called whistleblower on the Biden family.
Welcome back to so-called whistleblower. From the so-called whistleblowers.
See, so-called whistleblowers. So-called whistleblowers.
So-called whistleblowers.
So-called whistleblower.
So-called whistleblower.
So-called whistleblowers.
Whistleblowers, that's what he's calling them. Whistleblower.
Quote-unquote, whistleblowers.
They're alleged IRS whistleblower.
The GOP is marketing as whistleblowers.
Quote-unquote whistleblowers.
Jim Jordan, who's the chair of the Oversight Committee, is lauding them as brave Americans.
Whistleblower, a true patriot coming forward with the allegations.
But that's why the whistleblower is a hero in many ways.
This whistleblower is a hero.
The whistleblower is a public servant.
And now,
to stay anonymous.
Like heroism is being
So you say something bad about Trump and you're a hero.
It's incredible.
4 years later, you say something bad about Biden, you're a so-called whistleblower.
They taught them the air quotes,
the air quotes
in MSM school.
In MSM school, Terrance, mainstream media school. Can you believe it? You probably can.
I can. We've all been there. We've covered this. We've worked with some of those people. It is the business, and fortunately, we're able to tell the truth here and offer you we're trying to do it at least. Offer you unbiased context.
There you go, because, they built the first Trump impeachment around a whistleblower. And, yeah, Trump said it's a so-called whistleblower because in the end they didn't really have it. What they had was Trump was saying, go investigate corruption where Biden got bribes in Ukraine. Trump was right.
It was a perfect phone call.
It was a perfect phone call. That's what he said. Let's turn to Sunny Side Up. All right, Patriots. We're going to go out. We'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern. You like butterflies.
I do. I love butterflies.
Let's go out on some penguins chasing a butterfly. Watch.